The Myrtles Plantation was built in 1796 by General David Bradford, a prominent figure in the Whiskey Rebellion. Bradford, originally from Pennsylvania, fled to Louisiana to escape prosecution for his involvement in the rebellion. Bradford named the plantation Laurel Grove when he first established it. The original house was relatively modest, typical of late 18th century Southern architecture. It was a clapboard cottage with a central hallway and rooms on either side. After receiving a presidential pardon from John Adams in 1799, Bradford was able to bring his wife Elizabeth and their 5 children to the plantation. After Bradford's death in 1808, his daughter Sarah Matilda Bradford and her husband Judge Clark Woodruff took over the plantation. Woodruff significantly expanded the house, adding more rooms and the distinctive broad veranda. It was during the ownership of the Sterling family, who acquired the plantation in the 1830s, that it was renamed the Myrtles due to the crepe myrtle trees growing on the property. The plantation, like many others in the South, was impacted by the Civil War and the abolition of slavery. The plantation saw various owners and some turbulent times during and after the war. By the 20th century, the Myrtles had become a significant cultural and historical landmark, recognized for its antebellum architecture and storied past. The first death at the plantation was that of David Bradford. Many more deaths were to come as the years passed. During the Civil War, the Myrtles Plantation was reportedly occupied by Union soldiers. The plantation, like many others in the South, found itself caught in the conflict. According to legend, several Union soldiers were killed on the property. Some stories suggest that Confederate sympathizers or guerrilla fighters might have ambushed the soldiers, leading to their deaths on the plantation grounds. Over the years, numerous visitors and staff have reported seeing apparitions of soldiers on the property. These sightings often include figures dressed in Civil War-era uniforms, wandering the grounds or appearing inside the house. Some people have reported hearing footsteps, marching sounds, and other unexplained noises. William Drew Winter was an attorney and the husband of Sarah Sterling, the daughter of Ruffin Gray Sterling, who purchased the Myrtles Plantation in the 1830s. Winter and his wife lived at the Myrtles Plantation after the death of Sarah's father. The murder of William Drew Winter occurred on January 26, 1871. According to the legend, Winter was teaching a Sunday school lesson in the gentleman's parlor of the house when he heard someone approach the house and call out his name. As he stepped onto the porch, he was shot by an unknown assailant. Winter staggered back into the house, collapsing on the 17th step of the main staircase, where he died in his wife's arms. Visitors and staff at the Myrtles Plantation have frequently reported hearing the sound of footsteps on the stairs, believed to be the ghost of William Winter retracing his final steps. These sounds are often heard when no one else is present in the house. Chloe was said to be a slave at the Myrtles Plantation, owned by Judge Clark Woodruff and his wife, Sarah Matilda Bradford Woodruff. According to the legend, Chloe became involved in a romantic relationship with Judge Woodruff, which was common among enslaved women and their masters during that time. Some versions of the story suggest that Chloe was coerced or forced into this relationship. Another version of the story goes that Chloe was caught eavesdropping on Judge Woodruff's private conversations. As punishment, Judge Woodruff allegedly had one of Chloe's ears cut off. To hide her disfigurement, Chloe began wearing a green turban. Fearful of being sent back to the fields or suffering further punishment, Chloe reportedly devised a plan to regain favor by poisoning the family with oleander leaves. The intention was to make them mildly ill so she could nurse them back to health and appear indispensable. Unfortunately, the plan went horribly wrong. The poison cake Chloe baked led to the deaths of Sarah Woodruff and 2 of her children, Mary Octavia and Cornelia Gale. After the deaths, the other slaves, fearing repercussions, reportedly took matters into their own hands. Chloe was allegedly hanged by the other slaves and her body thrown into the Mississippi River. Chloe is said to haunt the Myrtles Plantation. Visitors and staff have reported seeing a woman in a green turban wandering the grounds and appearing in photographs. Chloe's ghost is often seen near the areas where the family lived and died. One of the most famous haunted artifacts at the Myrtles Plantation is a large, ornate mirror located in the main hallway of the house. This mirror is said to hold the spirits of Sarah Woodruff and her children. It is believed that after their deaths, a mirror was not covered in accordance with the mourning traditions of the time, which stated that mirrors should be covered to prevent the spirits of the deceased from getting trapped inside. Visitors and staff at the Myrtles Plantation have reported seeing handprints and face prints on the surface of the mirror. These prints often appear suddenly and cannot be cleaned off, no matter how much the mirror is polished. Some people claim to see the faint outlines of figures, believed to be Sarah and her children, in the mirror. These figures are sometimes described as looking out from the mirror or being faintly visible in its depths. Besides the distinct prints, other unexplained smudges and marks appear on the mirror's surface, further contributing to its haunted reputation. Despite numerous attempts to clean and polish the mirror, the prints and smudges always seem to reappear. Professional cleaners and staff have reported that no matter what methods they use, the mysterious marks cannot be permanently removed. The persistence of these prints adds to the eerie aura of the plantation and fuels the belief that the mirror is indeed haunted by the spirits of the Woodruff family. Skeptics might suggest that the prints and smudges are caused by natural factors such as condensation, oils from hands, or imperfections in the glass that catch light in a particular way. However, the consistent reappearance of the prints despite cleaning efforts remains unexplained. The haunted mirror at the Myrtles Plantation is one of the key attractions for paranormal enthusiasts and visitors. Some claim to see Chloe's reflection in this mirror as well. There is little historical evidence to support the story of Chloe. The deaths of Sarah Woodruff and her children are documented, but they are believed to have died of yellow fever rather than poisoning. Additionally, there are no records of a slave named Chloe being owned by the Woodruff family. But Chloe is real to a lot of people. It is said from present employees of the plantation that Chloe steals earrings from people, but only one because she only had one ear. They would later find them in odd places such as the chandelier or under the piano. The Myrtles Plantation, like many plantations in the American South, was built and maintained through the labor of enslaved African Americans. The exact details of the lives and treatment of slaves at the Myrtles Plantation are not well documented, but general historical context can provide some insight. Slaves on plantations typically engaged in grueling work that included tending to crops, such as cotton, sugar, and indigo, maintaining the property, and serving in the household. Daily tasks were demanding and often extended from dawn until dusk. Slaves usually lived in basic, often cramped cabins. Their living quarters were stark and provided little comfort or privacy. Harsh physical punishment was a common method of maintaining control and discipline among slaves. This could include whipping, mutilation, and other forms of brutality. House slaves, like the legend of Chloe suggests, often had different roles and sometimes better conditions compared to field slaves. They worked as cooks, maids, and butlers, and had more direct interaction with the plantation owners. Families were often torn apart as members could be sold off to different owners. This caused significant emotional and psychological trauma. The spirits of slaves are said to haunt the Myrtles Plantation. Reports include sightings of shadowy figures, sounds of crying, and other unexplained phenomena. Some visitors have claimed to see figures that resemble slaves performing chores or walking the grounds. These apparitions are often described as being dressed in period clothing typical of the 19th century. Many of the ghost sightings occur in the plantation's courtyard and surrounding grounds. These areas were likely where slaves would have spent much of their time working and living. Although not always accessible to visitors, the areas where slaves lived are also believed to be haunted. Sounds of phantom footsteps, voices, and other activities are commonly reported. The stories of the slaves and their hardships have been passed down through oral traditions. These narratives contribute to the rich folklore surrounding the Myrtles Plantation and serve as a reminder of the plantation's dark history. While the ghost stories add to the plantation's allure, they also help preserve the memory of those who suffered and labored there. The haunting tales of the Myrtles Plantation, including those of the slaves who lived and worked there, contribute to its reputation as one of America's most haunted locations. These stories serve as both a fascinating aspect of paranormal lore and a poignant reminder of the harsh realities of the plantation's history. These tours provide an in-depth look at the history of the Myrtles Plantation, including its architecture, original furnishings, and artifacts. Guides often share stories about the plantation's history, its former inhabitants, and notable events. This tour focuses on the legends and ghost stories associated with the plantation. Guides recount tales of the paranormal experiences reported by visitors and staff. These tours are designed to be more atmospheric and spine-chilling, often conducted after dark. They delve deeper into the ghost stories and paranormal activities reported at the plantation. The setting of the evening tours enhances the eerie ambiance, making it a popular choice for ghost enthusiasts. The plantation also offers private tours for small groups, providing a more personalized experience. These tours can be customized to focus on specific aspects of the plantation's history or ghost stories. The Myrtles Plantation operates as a bed and breakfast, allowing guests to stay overnight in one of the most haunted places in America. The accommodations range from rooms in the main house to more secluded cottages on the property. The rooms in the main house are furnished with period pieces and decor, providing a sense of stepping back in time. For those who prefer a bit more privacy, the plantation offers several cottages scattered around the property. These cottages provide a more modern lodging experience while still maintaining the historical ambiance. The Myrtles Plantation features a restaurant called Restaurant 1796, which offers a unique dining experience that combines Southern cuisine with the historical setting of the plantation. The restaurant focuses on farm-to-table dining, using locally sourced ingredients to create dishes that reflect the culinary heritage of the region. Visitors and guests at the Myrtles Plantation continue to report paranormal experiences, making it a hotspot for ghost hunters and enthusiasts. Many guests have reported seeing ghostly figures wandering the grounds or appearing in mirrors and windows. Sounds of footsteps, children's laughter, crying, and other unexplained noises are commonly reported, particularly in the main house and around the haunted mirror. Some visitors have felt unseen hands touching them or tugging at their clothes, particularly in areas known for their ghostly activity. The plantation occasionally hosts ghost hunting events and overnight investigations, where participants can explore the grounds with paranormal investigators and use ghost hunting equipment. The Myrtles Plantation offers a rich and immersive experience for visitors, combining historical tours, comfortable accommodations, fine dining, and the thrill of potential ghost encounters. Whether visiting for its history, its haunted reputation, or both, the plantation remains a captivating destination. Dare to visit? If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more ghost stories from around the world.